Okay, I'd like to open the select board meeting on Monday, December 16th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Could we all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. We are going to skip around the agenda a little bit so people can go, because it could be a lengthy night. So we're going to go to public comments first, and we'll have our animal control officer ask the questions that she'd like to.
Just a couple, is there a supply budget for animal control?
There is. I forgot if it was like, I forget exactly what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I don't have
I don't know, but there is a line item for, that we have for the year, and I get that information to you. For that, I don't know, does anybody, Rochelle or Marilyn, you wouldn't know offhand, but that is. No. Okay.
Okay. And any equipment, like a catch pole, white gloves?
I know Mike said I think he had stuff.
Oh, he does have
We have some equipment, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but
Okay.
Mike Williams would know,
Okay.
so.
Okay, I think that's, I just want to be prepared.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
And I had my first call.
First day.
First day. And I have to do up a report, and they have to, I would keep a copy, and then a copy would go to the administrator to have here too.
Okay,
So, if there's a place, I just have to write that up, the report, to have.
so you're looking for a place to come in and write the report?
No, I can write the report, but a place for the report to be held here
To
too.
be filed.
Okay.
They have to be
Yep, yep.
held here too.
Yeah, you can give that to us, and we'll have Rochelle, we'll put it where it belongs, so we'll have that there. Rochelle is our administrative assistant, so she'll take care of that.
Rochelle?
Yeah, and you may need some of our emails or whatever too.
Yeah.
We must have your email.
Yeah, we can get all that information too, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then I just have to make a copy for Mass Animal Fund, because I got appointed. Just need this filled out, and I have to send this in so I can be on the list for Clarksburg as an animal control in case they had a bite, they would contact me. So if I can just have make a copy, and then you guys can fill it out, and then I just fax it.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sure.
That's it.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get those answers
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry if there's been kind of a lack of communication. We're kind of in
Yeah,
a
no.
process
No,
of
that's okay, I just want to be
things, so
prepared
we'll
when
make sure. Appreciate
I
that.
have the stuff in my vehicle to come up here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the plan.
All right, next we're going to skip down to the school roof repairs. I know there was a bad leak, I got the video of it, and I know there's a lot of issues with the roof, and just so everybody knows, we've been 7 years trying to get this. We did, I'll fill in everybody on our meeting, we had a meeting with Kristen Lecco from the Governor's Office, Director of Western Massachusetts, and she's also very concerned, and she's going to talk to MSBA about what's the stories with funding, because the dilemma is the MSBA, they want to give money for big projects. And my concern is, it's either all or none. And that is a big issue, because I feel the town, and maybe, my opinion is going to be here, I feel the town can't afford a brand-new school, and it's not going to pass again. We're going to be right back in the same boat as we were now. So she's going to check with MSBA to see, and also with ANF, to see what she can do to possibly get funds released for the new roof. I sent an email today with the video, and I told her that we constantly are trying to fix a new roof, that it's definitely 5 years ago, or 7 years ago, when Adam Hines put it in the capital funds, he put it in as an emergency roof, because we went up and looked at it, and we said 5 years, it's gonna really have some issues, which is coming to fruition. So, we'll wait and see back from her. What would you like to say for that?
You know, Colton stopped at the school today to be there for something else, and we were chatting about it, and he said it was gonna be on the agenda, so I came down to here. But we've had 2 other classrooms today that have sprung leaks and that we hadn't typically had. We do have one that it seems to be getting worse, and I know we had a horrible rainstorm, and the ice has backed up on there. Our custodian was up there today chopping ice. When we had that leak, which is not, it was not a roof drain, it was, the water somehow got into it. It was an exhaust system.
Exhaust pipe, yeah.
So I guess the concern becomes, you know, where did that come in, and is it just the roof, or is it something else?
Yeah, and we just, we did get about 10 inches of snow, and then we had almost 3 inches of rain in that rainstorm, and 10 inches of snow is like an inch of rain all
Right.
melted.
Right.
So it's basically like 4 inches of rain all in one time, which is awful. But anyway, Colton, you wanna?
Yeah, I think it's probably good as time as any. I'll obviously make my position pretty clear on this, and obviously, or briefly kind of chatting about it beforehand. I do, honestly, I want to thank Sandy for taking me around today, kind of showing me some of the troubled areas and, you know, kind of really get somewhat of an assessment of the infrastructure of the school itself. You're right, we're in the predicament, I think, at this point, from my opinion, we're playing a game of whack-a-mole. It's one problem after another, after another, after another. And this roof has obviously been a contentious issue for quite an extended period of time. And Bob, I think you're right. I think the governor's representative stated it pretty clearly. I think MSBA is in the business of rehabilitating on a large scale. They are not in the business of doing patchwork, or, as I've been grown to give the analogy of putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I think these problems are going to compound quite drastically. I think we've seen it pretty consistently over the last 7 years since the vote. Unfortunately, it failed. I think the town and the school is at, I think, a crossroads at this point. There either needs to be drastic action taken one way or the other, or look at all available options moving forward. I'll be honest with you, I think, and I've said this since day one, I think the school is the town's biggest asset. It is the #1 reason I think most families move to Clarksburg, is to be able to send their kids to school there. I think the responsibility of the townspeople, is to ensure its continued success. And it's just very unfortunate that the maintenance has been deferred and kicked down the road for so long that we're now at this point of, it's either fix it, rebuild it, rehabilitate, build a new school, or the unfortunate situation, our kids would have to attend school in North Adams, which I think is the worst possible outcome for our school and the community. I'd be in full support of exploring the option of renovating the school or building a new school. I think the tires need to be at least kicked to give us a new, fresh, updated idea of where we might be at financially, what we'd be looking at overall, budget-wise. I just think the idea of just continuously kicking this down the road is just, it's just not a plausible outcome in the end. So that's my opinion on it.
Dan, you got anything to add?
Well, it's hard to follow up on that. But no, I'm in agreement with Colton that we definitely need to work on doing something with this roof, whether it's part of a full renovation project. I fear a new school would be difficult to get through, but at least if we could, a large renovation scale. I don't know if there's anything we can do in the meantime with a roofing company to go up there and see if they can I mean, if we had to pay $5,000 to have them patch it up to get us through till we can get to that step, because even a renovation project could be a couple of years down the road. It's nothing that's going to happen in the next couple of months. So I don't know if we should look into exploring just a Band-Aid on it for now until we can get to that next point while we work through the process.
And it was an unusual storm.
Yep.
There was a lot of water, and it's just one of those things where it seems like we're getting more and more of those kinds of storms. So, you know, we have to keep it in mind and be proactive of how we're gonna handle it in the future.
No, absolutely.
I just want to add one more thing. Really don't want to sound too negative on this, but to walk through some of the active classrooms, to see buckets basically set up in the middle of class, it's just, to me, as a town, it's embarrassing. It really is, that our kids have to learn in that kind of environment, that our teachers are forced to teach in that kind of environment. I understand the financial aspect of it. It's a big burden on the town to undertake a large-scale project like that. I get that. But at the same time, that's an institution that stood for quite a long time, and the fact that it's gotten to this point that it's just become normal, to me, again, is embarrassing. I just think that this is something that needs to be addressed quickly, aggressively, and if we're gonna make a decision one way or the other, I just think we need to have all options laid out in front of us.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yep, and as we know, like I say, the other side of that is, as I mention all the time with the new tax bills coming out and everything, $1 on a tax rate only raises $167,000. So Clarksburg just doesn't have the millions of dollars to work with that other towns do. But we'll have to look into it. We'll see what Christian says. You know, hopefully she'll respond to me tomorrow. But we're definitely in tough shape. So we'll keep working on it. But you're right, there's not going to be a solution tomorrow either.
Right.
So
Right.
we got to know that. All right, anything else? All right, thank you. Thank you for coming, and
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry that
No.
you have to go through all that. All right.
Yeah, I will look into how we go about just even trying to look at band-aiding it in the meantime, just to try to get us through until we can get through this process, but I will put that on my to-do list.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, now, since our candidates are here for an interview for our town administrator job, I would like to jump right into that, so there's no need of keeping them through the rest of the meeting also. So, Ken, you're first. We'll talk to you first. If you'd tell us your name and a little bit about yourself, I'd appreciate it.
My name is Ken Ward. I'm from Beckett, Massachusetts. And do you want me to get right into a little who I am and what I do and what I can do for Clarksburg? I'm a consummate public servant. I think public service is ingrained in my DNA. I, at the young age of 14, had my first government job when I chased my congressman around unmercifully and told him that I wanted to be a page in the United States House of Representatives. So finally he said, "Kid, I'll do it." And I spent my sophomore year in high school at the Page School in Washington, D.C., watching how our government operates. And how I can remember my congressman. My congressman spent many nights sleeping on his couch because he was so busy and tied up. I don't know whether they do that in Washington these days, but so public service has been something I've been interested in since a very young age. When I went to college, I took government as my field of study, and one of the things that fascinated me most was our local form of government. It's the purest form of government you can have, with all its benefits and with all its issues. We talk about school roofs. So I went into when I graduated from college. I went into the military.
Thank you for your service.
I served for 6 years. I went to Norwich University, which is a military college, on an Army scholarship, studied government, went into the military, was stationed. I wanted to go to Alaska. And of course, they decided that Alaska wasn't for me. They sent me to Fort Carson, Colorado, to the mechanized infantry division out there. And when I got out, I decided that I wanted to work in local government. Well, I tried and tried and tried, but at the time I had no experience in local government, so I wound up getting into this new thing called technology, and wound up geting involved with, my first position was at Berkshire Farm Center and Service for Youth over in New York. And then I left there and went to Hilltown Community Health Center. All the while, I was in a leadership and a management position. Most of my career has been with leadership and management. I left there, went to Berkshire Health Systems, and spent almost 12 years working for both the health system and the healthcare system. The healthcare system manages North Adams Commons and a bunch of different nursing homes throughout Massachusetts. And Berkshire Healthcare Systems became Integritas Health. They left Berkshire Health Systems and went over and formed their own company. So I decided, well, this is a good time to leave, and I took a job working for a national skilled nursing company. It was national, and it was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I relocated to the Tampa Bay area. Hated Florida. I'm a New England boy. I've grown up here my whole life. It was just
Understandable.
It was very weird this time of year having it be 80 degrees. We never stopped at 80 degrees. But so I came back, and now I'm working for helping out Williamstown, and having doing their IT right now. A lot of what I've done is grant writing. You mentioned the school roof. I've been able to forge relationships with I don't know whether you have a relationship with Berkshire Planning Commission.
We do,
yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Mass Municipal, and the Collins Center. My philosophy is it's never a bad thing to ask for help. Some people are reluctant to do that. I definitely would ask for help.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I went on.
No, that's fine. It's nice to know about yourself. So basically, Williamstown, you're doing mostly IT work?
Oh, actually, I'm supporting all the different departments. I actually, since technology is so pervasive now, most of the, like I'm working with the assessor,
Yep.
working with the town clerk, working with the planning department, supporting WillieNet, which is our broadcast of our different committee meetings. So I've had my hands in just about every department.
All right.
Right now, I'm working on a grant with the Collins Center for Connected Communities it's not just updating our website, it's actually the website is only part of a communication strategy that we're doing to work with our residents on communication.
Okay. I know with municipal government, there is a lot going on with the laws of the Commonwealth, but also dealing with all the people in here, like I say, the assessor and town clerk, there's treasurer, tax collector, administrative assistant. And Clarksburg is in a kind of a tough situation, which you've heard some of our discussion with the school, is that we're not a wealthy town, and we don't have a great tax base. 53% of our town is owned by the state, with national forests and state park. And it's just there's a lot to always try to find in the budgets, to find places where we can really do our best. Have you worked with budgets for like a community or anything like that where?
You have.
I noticed a stark difference between 5 million and 25 million.
That there is.
I don't know what your state aid, what piece of that is state aid. I know a place like Williamstown, our state aid is very low, because our tax base is very, very high, whereas North Adams is kind of the opposite thing. They have a lot of state aid, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in what capacity have you worked with budgets?
I've worked with budgets, I was talking to our assessor about this today, and of course the revenue stream is different in the municipal setting.
Correct.
Than it would be in a healthcare setting. But I've been involved in formulating both capital budget. I know I had a $17 million operating budget when I was at Berkshire Health Systems, and it depended on what the margin was, $7 million. So when it was pretty flush with cash there. But I've worked formulating, managing budgets, basically my entire career.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, now, the only other thing I want to add, I want people to understand that working for town government, small town, it is overwhelming. And I always ask the candidates how they deal with being overwhelmed, because it's not fun having a lot to do and not enough time to do it all in. How would you deal with that situation?
That's something I've been used to my entire career. There's nothing more stressful than having put in an electronic system which physicians and nurses depend on, and have it go down in the middle of the night, and they're not able to care. Very stressful situation. So I'm used to stress. I know we had the North Adams Regional Hospital. They just walked away. This is 10 years ago now.
Mhm.
They just walked away and closed their doors.
Yeah, I think walked away is probably a little, I wouldn't really classify it that way, but yeah, I understand.
Dave Phelps turned to me and he said, I want that emergency department up and operating, and I want it done by the first of the year. And I said, yes, sir. And we did it. It was close, but we did it. And I can remember the line of people that were out the door waiting to come in. And I said, all these people can't possibly have emergencies. And I think that it was more of a curiosity than anything else. So I'm a fairly even-keeled, I'd like to consider myself an even-keeled person.
Okay.
I've watched leaders, I've watched good leaders, and I've watched not so good leaders. And I had a colleague that I worked with that at the hospital that was over leadership, and whenever he got frustrated, he'd find the nearest trash can and kick it around and start pounding on the walls. I said, what do you accomplish by doing that? So I'm a fairly even-keeled
Okay.
person. I'm used to stress. We live in an extremely beautiful area. Sometimes just go into the window and say,
Yeah.
So, I think my question, so living in Beckett, obviously, you know, town of Clarksburg, like Bob said, is very, very unique. We're a very tight-knit community. You know, majority of our town administrators have probably, you know, originated from here at some point or the other, or live here currently. Do you foresee it being an issue, obviously, if we run into natural disasters, emergency management situations, that if you get a call at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you as the town administrator, would you be able to respond to those events in a timely manner?
yes, without a doubt.
Okay.
I've done it on I can remember the first job I had with Berkshire Health Systems. You could almost set your watch by it. 2 o'clock in the morning, without fail, I got a call, the system's out. And had to go over to Pittsfield, had to respond. I pride myself on service. I pride myself on building customer service oriented organizations, the people around me. And that's what I think is important as example. I mean, if I run away and say, I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna be there, what does that send a message to sends a bad message to everybody else.
And where do you live currently, in Beckett?
I live in Beckett.
Okay.
Actually, you know, coming here is not much different than actually going to Williamstown.
Yeah,
I think it's
probably not.
shorter going,
Yeah.
it's shorter here,
It may be.
by a few minutes, by a few
I don't-
minutes.
I don't
I
have any questions.
timed it going up, I went up by North Orange Commons up that way
Yeah,
and came all the way around. Then when I went back down, I said, by the hairpin curve, and I said,
Yeah,
yeah,
much easier to go.
yeah,
up
easier
there.
coming right up.
yeah.
Right. Do you have any other?
No, I got no further questions.
I do have a question. I know you put on the resume there, you know, support the select board and municipal staff, and you mentioned how you've worked with the assessors, the town clerk. So like, doing, I guess, how are you supporting them? Like, what type of work? You mean, is it just, you know, on the IT side of things?
On the IT side of things, again, most of the software and most of the tools that they use are electronic. Actually, the town of Williamstown got a Connected Communities grant a while back, for a couple of $100,000, and wound up digitizing most of their things. Do you use Munis here?
No, SoftWrite. SoftWrite.
Do you use it?
We don't use Munis, we use SoftWrite. It's our SoftWrite program.
Do you have a permit software that you use, like Permitize or?
No.
But anyway, all of these things are from an operational standpoint and you know, back several years ago, I also served on a zoning board of appeals. I served on a planning commission for a small town in New Hampshire. I've also sat, when I was at Berkshire Farms Area Services for Youth, I was on the Union Free School District School Board. So I can appreciate,
Yep,
Okay.
what
I'm good if you guys are.
the folks at the school are going through.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the information on that.
Do you have any questions for us?
So I wanted to also emphasize the first thing I do, the first inquiry I make when there's an issue like that is, how can I fund it? Where can I get money? Can I find a grant somewhere? Can I find, back, during COVID, there was there's a tremendous amount of grant money out and available
And not anymore.
for such things. I was able to write and receive a $1 million grant to update the infrastructure for Berkshire Health Systems. I've written, they wanted to put an EMR in their electronic medical record in their nursing homes. I wrote a grant for that and was given $200,000 from the state. So my question is, and I'm sure that you're very aggressively going after these type of things. Do you have partnerships with the Collins Center?
Well, we do, our big thing, we have a grant that we use through Berkshire Regional Planning. So they actually are writing grants for us. So they got a grant for Briggsville Water District. They're working grant for MVP, which is a municipal vulnerability project, which is the flooding in our town field. Trying to help us with all that. So they've been very helpful at getting grants. And then also, the state has made it easier with their one-step program. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they have a one-step program, and you're allowed to go after 5 different grants in a year. And it used to be every 3 years you get a strap grant, and they've made it much easier as long as the money's there. The money may be drying up, so I mean, this may go away next year, who knows? But right now, they have made it easier, and we are definitely pursuing grants as much as we can. They're all competitive, so we put in for 5 this year, we got 2 out of the 5. But we obviously, whoever is in that job has to continue to aggressively go after grants and get to know our representatives, senators, and state people to help us when we need help. Like I say, we have to ask when we are not sure what to do. All
Do
right.
you, what would you say would be the hardest thing for the person coming into this position? I'm not completely familiar with the history, but I know a little bit from reading
You're probably gonna get 3 different answers from all 3 of us.
the local papers.
Wanna go first, Bob?
Sure, go ahead, Colton.
My personal opinion, I think the crumbling infrastructure in the town is large, I think the largest issue between our, roads, bridges, water infrastructure to, flooding issues, as Bob said, and honestly, it's been pretty prevalent tonight. The school, to me, is obviously the number 1 issue. So I think whoever we do decide to hire and bring on, I think is facing a pretty tall task in addressing these issues. Like I said, they've been deferred for quite an extensive period of time, and I think unfortunately at this point the bill's coming due. I think it's a problem that needs to be addressed aggressively, and it's going to be a tall task for whoever we do decide to bring on.
Dan, yeah.
No, but, Colton said it well, obviously we have a limited budget and, a lot of roads that need paving, and, grants are pretty much the only way we can really get some projects done. So, I mean, going after grants and trying to stretch a dollar as far as you can, and keep supporting your staff here. That's biggest part of the process, and which we do have a great staff right now, and we're just looking to keep the town moving forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, and I always look at a great challenge for any town administrator is selectmen come and go. You are not like a town manager like Williamstown has. You report to the select board, we make our decisions, and you carry on our wishes. And lots of times we don't agree. And that puts the town administrator sometimes in a tough situation because he has to try to look things up for us, give us as much information he can, try to get us to at least, I always say we try to find a win-win situation. If you can't, then you try to compromise. If you can't, then it comes down to a vote and 2-1 and you move on. But that sometimes isn't
They're
easy.
not all 2-1, just so we
No, they're not, no. Most of the time we agree on everything, or come to a compromise.
few
on
items
things.
we
Yeah, there's very few times that we have a lot of disagreement. But it's just, that's a tough situation, I feel, for a town administrator to be in, because, they have to try to work it out so we move forward, because we can't be stuck, like Colton says, we might be stuck lots of times, and time goes on, we kick the can down the road, and then selectmen change, new administrators come in, it's like you start over. And that's not easy. So, I would say that's the hardest part. All right,
Like getting a new boss in a hospital setting. I had a few of those. If I could add, I'm a law school trained attorney, although I've never practiced law.
okay.
I'm familiar with the Mass General Law. I wish I could say I could recite every single one of them for you, and as they pertain to.
If you could, we probably couldn't afford you, so.
Well, I think I understand well enough statutory and regulatory interpretation. I know that you have a very interesting set of bylaws.
Yeah, we do.
Which addresses just about every, well, not every, but certainly many contingencies that you can have. I didn't read through every single one of them, but I checked out a few of them. So I have that. What I'm not is I'm not a politician. I'm a professional administrative leader who I can get things done, and I won't stop until I get them done. But
That's good.
All right.
We appreciate
I
it,
really
Ken.
appreciate your having me, and thank you.
Well, we appreciate
I
you
know a
coming,
lot of
and
great folks that I work with at Berkshire Health Systems that live in Clarksburg, and
That's
Okay.
good.
all right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Have a great evening.
Be in touch.
thank you.
All right, next on the list is Brianna. You're under gun now. So you heard a lot of the questions.
Just
you
come
can
up a little closer.
Obviously, you heard a lot of questions, but we'll repeat them and try to be as fair as we can. First, we'd just like to know your background, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, born and raised in Clarksburg. I moved away for probably 4 or 5 years, and then I was in Hawaii. Moved my family all the way back here just so that they could grow up here in Clarksburg and go to Clarksburg School. I just have a love for Berkshire County, and I really, I'm looking forward to see the growth of Berkshire County as a region, but also Clarksburg as a town. Just really love my home. So. Went to school for sustainable food and farming at UMass Amherst and got a certificate of civic service and public engagement. So that was kind of where my desire to work in local government really came about. I just learned the importance of local government and just really found kind of like a heart for serving. I'm now doing my Master's of Business Administration at MCLA. I really was most interested in the UMass program, Public Policy and Administration, dual degree with an MBA, but that didn't work out with just working full-time and raising a family.
Kids,
So,
yeah, exactly.
so doing an MBA, and I concluded this May. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my background. I have 3 kids, 2 of them go to McCann right now, and 1 will soon go to Clarksburg in the preschool program.
All right, so you plan on being around this area for a while?
Yes.
Okay. I guess that would be one of the questions. I can jump right to that, like, where do you see yourself, like, in 5 years? I mean, I don't want to say you'd use this as a stepping stone, I don't misinterpret me, but I want to know is, are you looking for bigger things, or are you looking for now to possibly settle in and learn all you can about the town administrator job?
Yes, definitely looking to learn as much as I can. I'm still kind of like climbing the ladder and, developing my education, but my current position with Mass Hire, I'm super comfortable, and I thought like, okay, I could work here for the next 40 years or so. Very loyal, and with this opportunity, it just feels like an opportunity that would be right for me for utilizing my skills and implementing my leadership And I'm just looking forward to grow a little bit more and to come against more of a challenge to just grow in my career.
Okay. Cool, yeah.
I think obviously one of the things that kind of jumped out to me on your resume was obviously your grant writing experience with your current job with Mass Hire. Do you want to just speak maybe a little bit more to that, just kind of your experience on grant writing, kind of the pros and cons, just give a little bit more of an outline where you where you kind of fall on that.
My experience with grant writing actually started with Lever. They're a nonprofit out of North Adams, and I started to manage their workforce program. So that's what kind of got me into the workforce realm. I was overseeing, they had like maybe 4 or 5 different grants. So I had a bit of a part in that, and reports and tracking payments, keeping track of records, that sort of a thing. So shortly after, I was ready to move into a full-time position, and I found the opportunity with Mass Hire. And within that first 8 months, that first year, I really just jumped right in with very little guidance. My superior, she wasn't really able to be there with just family things that were happening. So I just had to take the bull by the horns and learn as much as I could, utilize the resources that I had available. I was jumping into a market maker position, which there are 6 market makers that they had through a grant to represent different regions throughout the Commonwealth. And so we would meet monthly, and we would try to do outreach to employers to connect them to grant opportunities as well to develop workforce. We had one grant that we had it for 1 year, and then I joined the team and had to jump into managing that grant in the middle of, doing all the reporting and understanding the various programs that were part of that grant. So,
Okay.
And in addition to that, I had been applying for a planning grant for this grant that we just received at the start of the year. It's a 3-year grant. We were awarded $2 million. We have about 4 to 5 different partners. We have 9 different programs that are operating under that grant. Yep, and I have to keep track of all of those different programs. Enrollments, communicate with the employers, with the instructors, track invoices, so keep records. I developed the budget for that grant, and also submitted in that first year a modified budget. We added a few new programs, and so I have quite a bit of experience with grants. I kind of see that's where my career is growing the most, and I see that there's a lot of grants out there, and I often think about the town of Clarksburg when I see certain grants. I'm like, oh, this would be great for Clarksburg.
That's good. And then you mentioned, because I know lots of times I've had people say that, you can get the grants, but there's so much paperwork and so much follow through and keeping track. So you've been able to follow grants through, and you know what it takes, and the forms and the fill out.
Reporting and
Okay.
and program overviews. There's a lot of pieces and a lot of different players within the grants, and so communication is key. And I like to keep on the ball. Like a lot of the times, people are involved in their own everything. So I am that person that keeps checking in because we need the information. I want to get it so we can submit it on time.
Okay, that's good. Dan?
Now, what was your experience in mass general law and, the workings of town government?
So I don't have much active experience, just what I've learned through education or just self-study. I browse through casually, like running for select board. When I'm applying myself towards something, I want to learn as much as I can about it. And so, I know a little bit here and there, taking a business law class, so policy, I've taken some public policy classes.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I've asked the candidates is, I find just being down here all the time that it's overwhelming what's got to be done and keeping up on everything. And it will even be more overwhelming for somebody that really has to learn about town government and the mass laws. But I always looked at, give me somebody with a good attitude and they can learn anything. And so I feel even though it'd be nice to have somebody that knows everything, that, a good attitude is very important, because I think it's not that difficult that anybody can't learn the job, it's just there's a lot to it. And I want to make sure people know when they come in here, it is not going to be easy for a while until you get your feet wet and you get to know people, but there are people here that'll help. But I just wanted, how do you feel about if you're overwhelmed and whatever, how you handle that?
Yeah, I take things as they come. I have a mindfulness background, so yoga, meditation, that's what I've explored through my early 20s. So although now I have family and children and all that's out the window, you know, I feel like that foundation still helps me.
Yep.
Even with Mass Hire, I had to jump right into things with little guidance, and you know, I just keep cool and just be a sponge. So that's what I like to be, is just absorb as much as I can, do the best that I can.
Yeah, I'm sure it can all be learned. The other thing of what Colton mentioned a few minutes ago was that obviously we're just part-time selectmen, we come and go. And the town administrator, when there's emergencies, like the July 10th there a year ago, our town administrator, 4 o'clock in the morning, is out riding around and trying to see where the problems are and stuff. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that there will be times where there's emergencies, and we rely on the town administrator to obviously take care of that. Obviously, we'll be on call, and you need advice, but that it's the town administrator, basically, like say, they're here all the time, they know what goes on, and they take care of the town for us, so, you know that. Colton, you have any?
No, I think Brianna's obviously, they covered quite a bit of it. You know, I think the theme of the night, at least from my perspective to an extent, is, you know, obviously the school, new being, you know, a graduate of Clarksburg. What's your feelings, long-term solution? Where do you see Clarksburg as a town, as the school? Where do you see the future kind of direction of that situation?
It's going to be my question for you guys. No, I am interested to see, you know, what strengths you believe this town has. You know, I know you said the staff is good,
Yep.
a good, strong asset to the town, but also like what opportunities the town, you might see that the town has. For me, I hope that the school can remain here. I hope that Clarksburg as a town doesn't have to merge with North Adams.
Sure.
So, you know, those are my hopes for the town, and I know that these are some threats down the road, and that quick decisions have to be made, so that we can not have to be forced into doing something that we don't want to happen to the town and to the school.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough. Our demographics, about a third of our town is elderly. And it's hard because they feel like through the senior center stuff that money just isn't given for the building or for a director or anything like that. And like Colton said, our infrastructure is just falling apart. And so our town DPW, you know, we need more money, we need to do this. Of course, a lot of that is through grants that we'll get. But then, of course, you got the school, which people go to school, that's, like Colton said, it's really the number one asset we have. And we certainly don't want it to go away, but that's where the highest cost is. Like 60% of our funds or more already go to the school. And it'll be a tough road no matter what we do. There's going to be a lot of controversy, but we'll get through it. And I just want people to be prepared that it's not an easy job, and that there's two sides to every story, sometimes more than two sides, I think, to every story, and that we have to do our best to try to do what's best for the town. That's what we're here for, so that's my 2 cents worth. Dan, do you have anything else?
My other question is, have you ever worked with budgets at all in any of your previous positions?
Yeah, yep. So with this 3-year grant that we just received with Mass Hire, I developed the budget of $2 million, a little bit over $2 million, and then within the year submitted a budget modification. So I'm very on the ball, as I've said, and like I sometimes I want to just make sure my boss submits the invoices. I want to make sure everything lines up, you know, because every dollar really matters.
Absolutely.
With this budget, we have a lot that we can utilize in various places, but I still want to make sure that we're using it in the areas that we said we would.
Okay, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, what opportunities do you see for the town? Is it in an industry? Is it natural resources? Like, do you see any potential for growth in the town?
Yeah, we don't want to,
You're gonna get very different answers. Like I said,
we don't want to be negative on this either.
Nope, you know what, I'll give you a positive spin on this. My opinion, and I've made this, you know, pretty well known, is I think Clarksburg is a destination, I think, that a lot of younger families are looking for opportunities to move to Clarksburg, like I said, specifically for the school. I think the issue is, I think housing availability within town is so limited that when there is houses for sale, they do sell fairly quickly. There's not a lot of opportunities. It does, you know, market-wise, the values of the houses in Clarksburg are you know, considerably higher, which is good. That's not a bad thing, but it does limit the availability of locations. I've always been a big proponent, if there's opportunities for people to build, if there's opportunities for people to move their families here, I think the town should be as aggressive as they possibly can to make those options as easy as possible. I think there's, you know, as Bob had stated, 53% of the you know, land mass in town is owned by the state, which is unfortunate because it does limit our ability to, you know, to really raise revenue, to, you know, increase our population. On the flip side, and I know this has been part of the discussion, it's good to increase, you know, population, it's good to increase revenue, but then it also increases dependency on, you know, certain services. So it is kind of cause and effect to an extent. But in my opinion, I think the town should find every possible way to attract as many people as they can, to move their families here, to become residents, to become contributing, obviously, taxpayers into the system. And if we've got to get creative to you know, achieve that goal, then I think we should look at all options available. So.
Yeah, you know, I definitely believe in trying to grow a little bit, you know, like Colin kind of fell up, you know, just making more availability for people that want to move to town. You know, on the industrial or commercial side, I think we're very limited on what and where, you know, businesses can come into. So I think that'd be tough to approve upon by much. More or less, I feel like we just need to kind of continue to maintain and improve our infrastructure, you know, try to get our roads paved, just try to have what we have, approve upon what we have already, you know. But I think that's pretty much my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and same here, it's industry, we don't have the areas for them to go. Actually, out here, the mills, there possibly could be some grants to fix some mills up that possibly some industry can move in, would have to look into that. And growth is a funny thing, because you don't want to say you're against growth. Fast growth, where I was talking to school, most of the classes have like 15, 18 kids in. Well, you start getting a lot of people in here, now we're going to have 2 classes. They got to hire more teachers, the school budget is going to go up. So I'm always one that I want everything to go slow. And a lot of people say, well, you know, can't, so we got to make a change. And again, it's just differences of opinion, difference thing. I think we all have the same goal pretty much. So it's just trying to find that area, things we can do, and be aware of what the future is going to bring when we do these changes, so we don't get blindsided and caught up in something that, hey, wait, we really were ready for this. So it's, I believe more in a slow process, but I'm old. You know? So, all right, do you have any other questions for us?
No, that was everything. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Well,
We appreciate you coming.
we appreciate you coming, and we'll be in touch. And I meant to ask Ken and forgot. I just, what, possibly if we went with whoever we go with, how much of a notice would you have to give before you could start work or whatever, is it?
Well, you know, I want to be respectful to my current employer, so
Yep.
2 weeks minimum, you know,
Okay.
at minimum.
Mhm.
You know, I I'm like the one person in my department, if you will, so, I don't wanna
Leave them high and dry.
blindside
Yeah.
them, you
Yeah.
know? I'm not sure if, in the town administrator position, I know it's a 4-day week.
Yep.
If, Fridays, if I were to be hired, if I could still be employed for
Mhm.
8 hours with, mass
Sure.
hire. I would probably like to do that if I were offered the position, just to keep things going with them until they found a replacement,
Okay.
because it's a lot to.
Yeah, and that's, and we understand that. I just want to be sure. All right, thank you very much.
We appreciate it, Ron.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see.
Go back up to MVP.
We're gonna go back up to the MVP update. We had another listening session. Dan was there, Colton, just to fill you in, they came with more of what they can do with the water and the town field, and they tried to narrow this down to a project so they can get designing it. I think the big issue was right in front, between the basketball court and the VFW, so sort of in the center. They want to have a parking lot there, which I think is good, because we
Yeah.
need some parking, and it might be 10 or 15 spaces, but they want to have it grass, because they're really against having blacktop, where they want the water to go into the ground, they want the water to seek out and things, and I think, Dan, you brought it up, right? That might not work, or does somebody else bring that up, that?
Up for the parking lot?
Yeah.
Wise, yeah, they just a, blacktop or gravel parking lot would be much better than
Yeah.
grass parking lot.
Well, as you know, Mass DOT's approved, I know there's a pretty considerable stretch on Route 91 in Deerfield. They actually use that permeable blacktop, which has been, obviously, I drive it every day. It's held up fairly well.
But they do have that, and they also talked about having the parking lot that's there now, the gravel one.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a better parking there, so it fits more cars.
well,
But they wanted that as the main parking lot, and the overflow be at the town field. And I told them, even myself, if I go down and play basketball, I'm not gonna go park in the main parking lot.
No,
I'm gonna park as close as I can get.
Exactly.
And so,
That's kind
anyway,
of primary.
that seemed to be the big issue of contention. Other than that, they're gonna try to come up with a final design, and in February sometime, they're gonna have that next dinner.
Okay.
And doing that, so we all should try to get to that and see what's going on. And anything else, Dan, you want?
No, I thought the design layout was great that they came up with, and, just a few small little tweaks like the parking lot, if we can kind of work on that. Well, hopefully this project continues to move forward.
I hope so. It's be a big project and be good for everybody. The status of ARPA funds. ARPA funds, Carl, still having trouble getting in the system. What's happened is because, this is how I understand it, because the fire truck was the big thing for ARPA, that the site for, I think it's sam.gov, and there was another one, went through Chip for a lot of this, and Carl was assigned to that. Well, Carl has since dropped off the list, and Chip's trying to get him back on so we can use that.
So our own town
Yes, sir.
administrator doesn't have access to the ARPA funds that were allocated for the town.
Right, so what we have to do, we have to, by December 31st, say what they are. He's working on it, he's actually talked to Matt from the federal government, and Matt's gonna talk to him, not tomorrow, Wednesday. And Chip is also trying to get him access, so he has the access to get into the program. So we're hoping that Wednesday, it'll all be cleared up, but at this point, there is still some issues. He's trying the best he can to go through the government, which is, lots of times he gets the people and they pass them on to other people, and it's been a difficult process, but that's an update on it.
I'd like to figure out what happened with this, because, the fire truck wasn't the only thing that ARPA funds were used for.
No.
So, so I don't know how we fell off of,
And I'm kind of curious how this is nothing against Chip, how basically the fire chief of our volunteer fire department is the only one that basically had access, and our town administrator can't even get into the program.
Yeah, and apparently it's because the program was done through the fire department. That's how I understand, and again.
Yeah, the ARPA
so-
money was allocated to the
Yeah.
town, not the fire
Yeah.
department. The money was used for the fire department, but
Yeah.
not allocated
Yeah.
to the fire
We
department.
need to make this a top priority because
Yep.
I can't remember exactly what we had left for a balance in that, but was it somewhere between 12 to 15 or? do you remember?
I thought it might even be a little more than that. It wasn't over 20, I don't think, but it was somewhere around there. There's
Yeah.
certainly a chunk of money that we want to get. And
I would say-
Carl, actually, it's just top priority. I've been coming down and he's emailed this morning, that's what he was working on. Emails chips, and he got a hold of Matt that helped him before, and Matt said that he would be in touch with him Wednesday and they'd get through this, so. And he's from the federal government that is in charge of ARPA.
So, but, I mean, the more reason why I wanted it on the agenda for today was to discuss, what we have for balance, but we need to figure out what we're going to allocate those funds to before December 31st. So
Yeah.
I feel like we are running out of time to,
Right, to know how much, I'll find out exactly how much is there and what we can allocate it for. And then.
I've been doing a little, does anyone have any thoughts on what you'd like to see there for? Just so we can kind of start the discussion a little bit.
I would say if the money could be allocated for, a temporary solution for the roof, I think even a patch at this point or something, we gotta use the money for something. I don't know, it's almost kind of embarrassing that we don't even, it's not our fault, but it's that the town doesn't even have access to the ARPA.
I know some thoughts were possibly a generator here for town hall is one option. I know we discussed previously.
Yep.
Another thought I had maybe some security upgrades for town hall also. We were talking about possibly having like the key card swipes kind of for the doors, that keeps track of, who's in and out of what areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of makes it a little more keyless, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Just one thought I had for,
Yeah, no, that's
to spend some of those
a good idea, and we
funds
will
on.
have to discuss that quick.
Yeah.
And, see, so, I won't be available tomorrow, but, Wednesday morning, I am coming down, and I'm gonna, work on this with Carl to see what we can do, and I'll ask these questions, and we'll figure it out. Okay, review the opioid agreement.
We just gotta sign it, right?
Yeah, we did, and you know what? I don't think we have it here. Rochelle, you didn't see that? Or you
Middle
did?
one, right?
Oh,
Yeah, middle one right there.
oh, thank you. I meant to print it out and check up on that. So what we decided to do, obviously, we decided to do the Northern Berkshire
Yeah.
thing, and this was the agreement they got, so they just want us to sign that, so.
Need a motion to approve?
Need a motion, yes.
I make a motion to approve the opioid agreement with the Northern Berkshire Coalition as written.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And, it looks like there's just, I think we
You
should.
can sign, you're the chair, Bob. Fire away.
All right, next is update on the Spectrum Cable contract. I went to a meeting in North Adams, and they had Spectrum there. They had 3 people from the Springfield office. And basically, most of the agreements are done nationwide, so there was a lot that they really couldn't help us with in discussing for money, channels, things like this. But for Clarksburg's point of view, thank goodness for Mayor Maxey, because she brought it up, and I was there. And she said that Clarksburg obviously needs to be upgraded at our town hall, but we also said that we have our town meetings at the senior center, and if we have large town meetings, they're at the school, and we feel that that whole area needs to be upgraded. And the engineer wrote it down, he actually looked up the address, and I said there's the school, the DPW, the senior center, all there, and he said he was gonna look into it. He says there's no reason why that can't be upgraded. They do that, so I'm hoping they're gonna have 2 meetings in January that I will be going to get updates on this, and I'll keep you informed as we go.
Okay.
All right, discuss and set date and time for public hearing.
Yeah, the town administrator office renovations.
Oh, where is that?
Number 8.
Top one, you.
Okay, yes, thank you. We're talking about the town administrator office that it really needs to be updated.
Full support.
So,
So my thoughts are, it just brought to my attention, one of the staff members had a thought that we could possibly use the old police department as an option, as, because that's already redone with new floors, has some nice office furniture, it's not being utilized currently.
Yeah, they
No, as like an option, we have like a conference room table in there, that have room for that. That's just one thought for the relocation, it was brought up to me, so I just kind of wanted to, I didn't think of that myself, but I wanted to mention it. I didn't think that was a bad idea, because it, it'd be on the first floor, which would make it ADA compliant.
I think it's good, because it keeps the staff all
right
keeps everyone
together.
together, so.
And it's got a closing door,
No,
lockable
because
closing
for,
door.
people that they're coming to visit town hall, if they're here to meet with the town administrator, it's good to obviously have interaction with the other departments and.
so I guess then the question will be, are we looking more for renovating the office up there, or more for maybe permanently getting the town administrator down on the first floor?
Well, that's why I kind of put, when I asked for this to be on the agenda, why I kind of put discuss renovation or relocation, I guess you could say. So if we keep the town administrator in the office upstairs, we need to figure out something with a little bit of a renovation, some new flooring, rip up the carpet, freshen it up a little bit, or we don't do that right now and we, move the office downstairs.
I'd be fine, temporary fix, obviously, because we're working through such a quick transition at this point. I think if the option to utilize the office down here is, doable, I'd fine with that. I think we can address the renovations of the existing town administrator's office, obviously probably at a future date. Just,
Yeah.
the short.
Because it's not gonna be a quick process, either way.
So we don't wanna rush it either. If that room can be utilized, I think, effectively, then I think let's do it effectively at the time.
Okay, yeah, right, it's nothing that has to be done immediately,
Yeah.
but we definitely want to do something. It's, the office, the carpet and everything up there is just not in good shape. The chairs have all rips in it and everything too, so we'll see what we can, and obviously see where we can find funds for it and things too.
We do have $4,800 in the budget available for some renovations.
All right.
Okay.
If needed.
That's good. National Grid here, that's all.
All right, National Grid, they're looking to put, I've got it right here, they're looking to put a couple of poles down on Pine Avenue. So what we have to do tonight, is we have to set up a hearing for them, and it has to be posted in the paper, advertised and everything, so I was told that we should definitely give a couple weeks for everything like that. So what we have to do is set a date and time for the hearing, and I was looking at the calendar with the holidays coming and everything like that. I thought that January 20th is the Monday that we're supposed to meet. It's the third Monday.
It's Martin Luther King Day, is the office open?
Shoot.
Yeah, correct, yeah, that's a good call, Cole.
Well,
You wanna do the 13th? Oh, no, that's probably got a meeting that day. Right.
that's something we're gonna have to decide. Can we,
Could we do
could we meet on maybe a Wednesday or
I'm
something?
fine with that. Yeah, Tuesdays are really the only days that really screw me up. Do you wanna do the
Maybe
you
like-
wanna do the 22nd, Bob?
Yeah, how about Wednesday the 22nd?
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
All right, so we're gonna set this date for Wednesday, the 22nd. We'll have a selectmen meeting that day at 5 PM and have them on the agenda. Rochelle, is that okay?
Thank you.
All right. All right, any public comments?
Elsie, got anything?
No? Sure.
What is?
Now's the time to speak up.
Yeah.
I know with the holidays come, I just want to mention, I know we're kind of wrapping up some stuff like the ARPA funds, possibly, if we have any other qualifying candidates put in resumes, you may want to do,
Realistically, we're probably looking at the 30th, right? if we have to.
Yeah, and actually, I know I am
Yeah.
not available on the 30th,
Okay.
Well,
unfortunately.
What's the first Monday in January?
The 6th, it's basically, it's a full week later.
Do we want to try to do something next Monday to wrap up a few things?
The
Especially, the ARPA funds are a big
Yes.
thing. I mean, if we don't do
Yes.
that, we're gonna
Um,
let
Yes,
money
let's,
sit there.
That's fine. We've been doing a meeting every Monday for.
yeah, we may have to for the next couple of weeks. And like you say, we got so much going on, and we gotta decide on administrator and stuff too.
Yeah, let's
So,
just plan on that
so,
next Monday.
next Monday, we'll, have a select board meeting and get agenda together.
Perfect. Need a motion to adjourn, Bill?
Yeah, the only other thing is, we gotta, approve the, minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as read.
You have a chance to read them?
Yes, I did, yeah, the minutes are December 2nd and December 9th.
All right.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We'll adjourn the meeting at 6:09.